Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Eternal Spring. I'm Paul Thurrott, and I am here in Mexico City this time with my wife, Stephanie. Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah, we've recorded all these videos and we've traveled so much to this place. And I think this is only the second time we've ever actually made a video from here, which is a little goofy,
Mhm.
but we're still in the
So
process.
what we'll do is focus the video that we make from here on
That's right.
Pennsylvania.
It's exactly right. Well, it's all part of the process, right? So, last year we bought this apartment. We used a home equity line of credit from our house in Pennsylvania. We spent much of last year traveling here, as you know. We discussed all this, but this just to kind of, frame this. But the one thing maybe we haven't talked about is that separate from all that, and really regardless of that, we've been talking about selling our house, right?
Mhm.
So what's the rationale there?
I mean, I feel like there's a lot of different reasons. I think
Mhm.
we moving into Pennsylvania, we kind of put a 3 to 5 year time frame on the house without having any hard reason for that. And it's been 5.5 years and it feels like
Sure.
the right time. Um, Part of that is, we've got kids that are pretty much out of the house.
Right.
We've got it's a big house. It's a lot to maintain. It's a
Mhm.
lot of space for two people to live in.
Yep.
Um, and we've got this, we used a lot of the equity from that house to buy this apartment in
Mhm.
Mexico. And the interest rates have, as probably everybody knows, have gone up considerably in the past year. And, you
Yeah.
know, what was kind of a manageable monthly payment had doubled and tripled to a, I
Not so
wouldn't say an
manageable.
unmanageable, but,
I would
a,
say it's unmanageable. I
you
would say that.
know, yeah, yeah.
I think
Um,
that we're recording videos about Mexico, but for many, many years, we were heading to Europe. We were always going to go to Europe. We spent
mhm.
summers in Europe doing home swaps. We didn't have a plan for that. And when we couldn't go back to Europe, well, we could go back, but we couldn't have other people swap with us that year, 2021, I guess. We started doing research. We talked about this also in other videos, but we found Mexico and then we fell in love with it. And here we are. So I think the interest rate thing was the incentive we needed to get moving on this thing, which we were already going to do. We had
Yeah.
actually talked to a
Mhm.
real estate agent whenever
I
that
think it was
was.
a couple of years ago, honestly,
Yeah.
the first time we talked to her and just kind of
Hmm.
felt out
Yeah.
what we might get for the house and what we might need to do to
Yeah.
prepare to sell the house.
That's right. And we
Mhm.
still don't know. Our plan is to split our time, right? We want to spend time in Mexico. We want to spend time in the United States. We have these two kids that are, mostly or partially out of the house, depending on which one we're talking about. And we don't know where they're going to end up. And so they have to get settled and we need to figure that out. So um, we decided to sell the house. So
Mhm.
we're not moving here, right, full time. That would be nice in some ways, but we're not. Um, but we did put our house up for sale. So how did that? How did that even come about? Because it happened very quickly.
It sure did,
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so once we kind of started to think about possibly selling, I mean, we talked to a real estate agent in December, and I think even in December, we weren't 100% sure we were going to sell. It was more
Hmm.
like, let's talk to her and see what she thinks about possibly selling. And,
Right.
you know, she talked about some numbers that we might be able to
Hmm.
get for the house and um, walked through the house and said, things you might want to, little things that you might want to change or, we didn't really have to do a lot of repairs, but we had to do a lot of relocating within the house
That's right.
because apparently some number of buyers can't really visualize. So, if we were using the dining room as an office, then the office
Right.
has a bedroom and a lot of internal moving had to happen. And
That's right.
then, so we started talking about listing in late January. And then we kind of pushed that out to February. And
Yeah.
then
Right.
um, decided that the Super Bowl weekend was not a good weekend to list. Well, our agent recommended that
Which I
weekend
kind
was
of
not going to be
disagree
good.
with, by the way, but
Okay,
whatever.
but I
But
think we
yeah.
can't argue with the
Mhm.
results that we got,
Okay.
whether or
All
not
right.
it
But
would
let's
have
okay.
been
But let's
better.
not let's not
You
jump ahead
know?
too far here.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we because of our desire to kind of split time between places, we've been doing decluttering waves, for years and years, and this touched off another one of those. Stephanie sells stuff or gives stuff away on Facebook and
Mhm.
elsewhere, in an attempt to kind of downsize our footprint, right? Um, and we eventually got a storage unit. So we could push some stuff into there temporarily, right? Although I have to say, the day we did it, we weren't sure how temporary it was going to be, because
No.
one of the ideas was maybe we'd come here for a few months, and then things changed. But
Mhm.
and we got set up for this showing, which was I still can't believe it's this recent. It was only about 2 weeks ago. Is that really? It doesn't seem possible.
Yep.
So February 15th, we listed the house, and maybe step through that process. I mean, what?
Yeah.
Um,
Well, so I think it was the day before that, the
mhm,
14th, the agent came through the house with the photographer, so they took all the photos for the
right.
listing. The listing went live on the 15th, but we said
Mhm.
no showings until that Saturday because we just
We
weren't
needed
quite
it. Yeah,
ready,
we needed that time.
We
Yeah,
could be ready for photos because you could kind of move stuff out of the way, but we weren't ready.
right.
So we listed and we scheduled showings. It all happens by text now. So by Thursday and Friday, my phone starts buzzing,
Yep.
every hour or so with a request for a showing. And I'm like, accept,
We're very
So,
lucky because we have family in the area. We had to be out of that house for almost the entire weekend,
mhm,
and then again on twice on Monday because it was a holiday weekend
right.
in the United States.
Mhm.
Um, so that worked out nicely. We could hang out at my sister's, which was great. But yeah, let's run through the numbers here because
Yeah. So
this is
the
crazy.
open house was 2 hours long. It was from 12 to 2. Our
Mhm.
neighbors were texting us at 11:30 because so many people were already
Yeah,
there. We're like, it didn't even start yet. I guess they were milling around waiting for the door to be unlocked.
right.
And then we had
It's
45
Disney World or
families.
something.
45 families came through the open house.
This is crazy.
21,
45.
45,
Yeah.
yeah. 21 people scheduled their own private showings over the course of the weekend,
Yep.
the long weekend. And then from that, we had 7 offers. So,
Yeah.
the last showings were on Monday. By Tuesday night, we had a meeting with the real estate agent and she walked us through all
Yep.
of the different offers. And
Well, one stood out, right? I mean, I
one
think
stood out
that's
for sure.
maybe the best
Yeah.
way to say it. We
Mhm.
can't, this has not been completely consummated yet, so we can't really discuss the details of it. We try to be really transparent about all of the money stuff. We're not trying to be obtuse here. It's just that we really can't do that at this time. I don't see any reason not to do it later, but in fact,
Right.
it will be
Sure.
a matter of public record. So
Yeah. You can
whatever,
look on
but
Zillow in April
that's
and you'll
right.
see
Yeah, you can
it.
see what
So,
happened. But it was a good offer for us, and but it also kind of exposed this sudden process that happens here in Pennsylvania, which is much quicker than the process of selling a home in Massachusetts. We would have had at least a couple of months, I would say.
yeah, for
And
sure.
in Pennsylvania, suddenly they said, well, can you be out? I think at first it was like the middle of March or something. And we were like,
Yeah.
no, we can't be out at the middle of March. The
Right.
other the other problem was, of course, we had scheduled a trip here to Mexico City to finish our residency process, which will almost certainly be our next video.
Mhm.
And so we'll talk you through what we did there. You have to go through custom or passport control in a certain way, et cetera. But um, we basically orchestrated this so that we could close at the end of March. We didn't have to cut a trip short. We thought we would have to. It's 3 weeks long. So it seems really tight because it is. But we'll have a little bit over a week when we get home to have movers move the big stuff and for us to move our stuff out of storage. And we can get the keys to the apartment, which we did find, which we rushed. So it's crazy how quick this happened. But between the time we got the offer and accepted the offer and us leaving for Mexico City, we looked at a bunch of apartments,
Mhm.
and we selected one finally, and we got it right. So we're going to get the keys the day after we come back from here. It's this is
Yep.
crazy. Um, but what? So I keep coming back to this notion of what are we doing? Like, what are we going to
Mhm.
do? We got it. We did get an apartment, like I said, but it's a short-term lease, so it's about 8 months. We're going to reevaluate this place and where we want to be. It's in the area. It's very close to the house. But what are you thinking long term, or past that date? What is? It's impossible to say what next year looks like. But what do you?
Mhm. I mean,
Where's your head?
looking forward, I definitely want to split time between Mexico and the US and spend longer stretches of time in Mexico versus, in 2021, we were flying back and forth
Yeah. Well,
over and over. And honestly,
2022,
2022, sorry,
yeah.
2022.
Oh yeah. No,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Well, it's hard to, it's a roller coaster. It's hard to
Yeah.
keep straight.
Yeah. I'm still not sure about, how that shakes out.
Right.
We could have had a longer lease, and I was a little nervous that this place is going to feel too small, and
Yeah.
I'm not going to be comfortable there, and I'm going to want to find a place a little bit bigger, but I'm willing to give it a shot for, the better part of this year and see how that shakes out. And then, if we're comfortable there, great. We can stay there a little bit longer and
Yeah.
see what happens. I'm
It's a lot
curious
bigger
to
than
see
this
where
place.
Kelly ends up. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Kelly, our
Kelly
daughter.
graduates. Yeah. Our daughter graduates from college in, about a little over a year from now, spring of 2024. So, and she plans to go to physical therapy school, and that's a big unknown. So that may play into, maybe we see a different part of the country because that's where she's going to be for a couple of years, and that's convenient. Or maybe she ends up going to school in Pennsylvania, and we want to stay in state to get her.
And then, man, it would have been
tuition.
really nice if we had that big house because she could have lived there.
We'll just buy it back.
Yeah. I don't think we could afford to buy it back.
No, we couldn't afford to buy that.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, I think we still hope to spend more time here this year in bigger chunks. It's a little complicated. We have cats. I guess we could fly them here. It's kind of goofy, but we could do that. And we'll figure it out. But, for now, getting this done was a big thing, and it happened super quick. Getting this residency process finalized is also happening pretty quick, as it turns out, but we'll talk about that later. And we have other things going on, but it is, it's just been a busy, crazy time. And to do this on top of everything else is, I don't know, what's the difference? At some point you just pile it on.
I know. I do feel like, the past month or this year so far has been really stressful, but I also feel like this is the right time to sell the house, and not just for the reason we said, which is that our equity line payments have climbed, but also with interest rates climbing, there aren't as many buyers in the market for, the houses because they can't afford as much. And I think it's possible that interest rates will keep going up and home prices will start to come down. So I feel like this was a good time, even though it's stressful and busy.
We should also point out that when the house is sold, this place here in Mexico is completely paid off, which is nice. Right. So not only do we not have this monthly payment, but this becomes like an asset of its own kind, I guess, but obviously a place to come. And one of the nice things about having a place here, obviously, is you travel a lot lighter. We keep clothes here and things. We have, it's kind of a nice thing. And doing it without the overhead will be probably less stressful. I'm hoping, but talk to us in a couple of months, I guess. Yeah. So we'll see how it goes. So, but before we finalize all the house stuff, of course, we have to do the residency process, which is happening. We're recording this on a Friday. It's happening early next week. So sometime by midweek next week, we should have that story, which I assume and hope is going to be a good one.
Good one. Yes.
Not a bad one, but I think it's going to go fine.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's what we're doing. And thank you for watching. And we'll be back soon with another video.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.